How to make a wizard hat. Heads are not circular, they are oval. Here's an example with an existing hat. A miniature example of head opening and a large brim. Made like this pattern, it would be flat. When you cut and overlap out of the brim, it becomes more or less cone-shaped. Here is a life-sized brim with 2 layers of fabric and 1 layer of heavyweight interfacing to stiffen it. The inner oval measurement of the piece should be your head measurement. Measure in from the edge and do not include the seam allowance in your measurement. For the crown of the hat, cut on the fold with the slightly curved bottom equal to half your head measurement plus ½ inch seam allowance. For this example, the height is 24 inches, 23 inches plus the seam allowance times 2. Cut the same shape for the lining on the fold. I've marked in white on the navy to show the stitching line for the lining, leaving a gap for stuffing later. Clip the pointed end seam allowance. Right side out the outer hat crown and put the lining inside, matching the seams. Make a few tucks along the seam line to create a curved shape to taste. Hand tack in place. For the brim, I preliminarily sewed the interfacing to one of the fabric pieces, stitching about 1/4 inch in so it will hide in future seam allowance. Sewing this way lets me treat these 2 layers as one piece. After sewing, I clipped around the curve to help it lay flat and not bind up. I pinned this piece as it would be sewn to check head opening measurement and shape of curve. Sew the brim seam for the outer end lining to make each piece have a solid brim. Pin interfaced brim and outer brim along the outer circumference and sew. Trim the seam allowance to 1/4 inch. Flip so the right sides are out. Repin circumference and top stitch near edge. Pin the outer crown to all layers of brim on the inner circle, matching the seams of the crown to the seam joining the brim into an oval. So, pin and finish attaching the crown lining to the brim, hiding the seams. Stuff with lightweight stiffener. In this case, I used sturdy netting and distributed throughout the crown of the hat. Remember to leave space for the person's head. Once stuffed, hand or machine stitch the stuffing opening closed.